Here we have a trigonometry problem. Okay, let's go to the question. If tan theta equals to 5 over 4, find the value of sine square theta negative cosine square theta. Okay, let's consider the given value, that is tangent theta is equal to 5 over 4. Okay, according to Seccato, we have tangent theta is equal to opposite side over adjacent side. So the value we have in numerator over here is corresponding to opposite side, and the value we have in denominator over here, this 4, is corresponding to adjacent side. Okay, so first let me write Seccato, that is SOHCAH So in Seccato, this is a abbreviation we have to remember the formulas for sine, cosine, and tangent. So for the last three letters have to be considered for tangent, that is tangent theta is equal to opposite side over adjacent side. And also we can use the first three letters to find the value of sine theta, and the middle three letters can be used to get the formula for cosine theta. Okay, now let me draw a right triangle. Here I have drawn a right triangle, and here the angle measure we have for the given tangent is theta. So I consider the angle measure theta over here. So here the side which is opposite to the angle measure theta is considered to be opposite side. Okay, so and the length of the opposite side has to be considered as phi, because according to Seccato we have tangent theta is equal to opposite over adjacent, and the numerator phi is corresponding to opposite side. We can consider this phi as the length of the opposite side, and always the side which is opposite to the right angle is called hypotenuse. Let me write it over here, hypotenuse. And the third side is called adjacent side. Let me write it over here. And from the given information, the denominator 4 over here is corresponding to adjacent side. So we can consider this 4 as the length of the adjacent side. Okay, so if I want to get the value of sine theta according to Seccato, so sine theta is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. So I must need the length of hypotenuse. Okay, now let me assume the length of the hypotenuse as just x. Okay, here in this right triangle, I can use Pythagorean theorem to get the length of the hypotenuse, which is assumed as x. Okay, what is Pythagorean theorem? According to Pythagorean theorem, in a right triangle, if I add the squares of two sides, it must be equal to the square of the hypotenuse. Or I can write it as the square of the hypotenuse is equal to sum of the squares of other two sides. So I have squared the hypotenuse, it must be equal to the sum of the squares of other two sides, that is 4 square positive 5 square. So actually we have this equation according to Pythagorean theorem. So then we get x square equals to the value of 4 square is 16, and the value of 5 square is 25. So when I add them, I'm getting 16 positive 25, it becomes 41. Okay, but I need the value of x because x represents the length of the hypotenuse. Okay, so let me take a square root on both sides to get rid of this square over here. So the square root and square will cancel out. So when I take square root for this number 41, the sign in front of the square root will be positive or negative. But x represents one of the sides of the triangle, that is hypotenuse. It cannot be negative. The length of the side of a triangle cannot be negative. So in this positive or negative sign, we don't have to consider the negative sign. We can just consider only the positive sign over here. So therefore, the value of x is equal to positive square root of 41. I didn't mention the positive sign. Even if I don't mention, so everyone can understand it's a positive value. So I got the value of x equals to square root of 41. That is the length of the hypotenuse here is square root of 41. Let me replace x by square root of 41. Okay, now let's find the value of sine theta and cosine theta. So once I get the value of sine theta, cosine theta, I can get the value of this expression sine square theta, cosine square theta. Okay, so according to Seccato, sine theta is equal to, we have opposite side over hypotenuse. So what is the length of opposite side over here? The side which is opposite to theta is called opposite side. Already I have named. So it's phi, and hypotenuse just now we got the square root of 41. I got the value of sine theta. Okay, now let's get the value of cosine theta. So cosine theta is equal to, according to Seccato, so I have to consider the middle three letters for the formula of cosine theta. That is cosine theta equals to adjacent over hypotenuse. So let me write it, adjacent over hypotenuse. So what's the length of adjacent side? It's 4 over, what is the hypotenuse? Its length is square root of 41. Okay, now I got the value of cosine theta too. Okay, now let's evaluate the value of the expression, that is sine square theta negative cosine square theta. Okay, already we know the value of sine theta, that is 5 over square root of 41. Okay, to get the value of sine square theta, we have to square this value, that is 5 over square root of 41 the whole square negative. So the same thing we have to do to get the value of cosine square theta. So the value of cosine theta is 4 over square root of 41. To get the value of cosine square theta, we have to square this value. So 4 over square root of 41 the whole square. Okay, here we have exponent 2 for the fraction 5 over square root of 41. So this exponent 2 can be taken separately for numerator and separately for denominator. When I do so, I'm getting 5 square over square root of 41 the whole square, and the same thing over here, that is 4 square over square root of 41 the whole square. So here this square root and square root cancel, the same thing square root, so the square and square root will cancel out. So the value of 5 square is 25 over, and the value of here the square root and square cancelled, we just get 41 over here negative. So we get the value for 4 square is 16, and in denominator we have 41. Okay, here we have subtraction of two fractions and we have the same denominator for both the fractions. We can take this 41 as a common denominator. So we have 25 negative 16. So when I subtract 16 from 25, I am getting 9 over 41. So I got the value of sine square theta negative cosine square theta. So its value is 9 over 41.